What's going on YouTube? It is Texans Take over here, back with another video. In today's video, we are here with the 53-man roster, doing our roster predictions. It is about a week into training camp on August 6th as I'm recording this video. We have football today. We have the Carolina Panthers against the Arizona Cardinals in the Hall of Fame game. So I think it's Carson Beck versus Kenny Pickett or something like that. But, I mean, football's back. It's going to be great to watch just to see players hit with some pads. But yeah, we got some big updates to the roster builder. Montreal Washington is the newest signing of the Houston Texans, so he is already updated there. But as you can see, there are community rosters now, so you're able to view them, like or dislike whether or not you like the roster. Um, so kind of a community aspect, just to compare your roster to others to see how they view it. And if you want to submit your own, you go to HoustonTexans.com, 53-man roster, my roster builder, and then you click submit, and then you title your roster, and then that's why you see Texans Takeover 2, Texans Takeover, and maybe, I don't know, LOL there. So yeah, again, my roster builder, and then you submit the one that you want to. We're going to submit this one here. So this is my official attempt. Um, but yeah, we've got 90 players. It is an updated roster. We're gonna start off cutting Pittsburgher and putting Noah Whittington to the practice squad. You can also change players' positions now. So, like for example, if you think Justin Watson's a Z, then you can move him over to the Z. Um, just fun features that we're adding to kind of enhance everything. Um, but I think Collins, Hutchinson, and Watson are guys that I want to try to keep, if possible, just because it seems like the Texans love Justin Watson as a special teams guy. I think Sobkowitz and Wayne are both going to be practice squad guys. So, 3 UDFAs making your practice squad is not bad by any means. Montreal Washington, I know we just signed you, but I'm cutting you. Same with Jaquan Jackson and Javon Saunders. Joshua Kelly has been making some plays in training camp, so I am actually going to move him to the practice squad there. And then he's going to join Cade Stover. I'll give more in depth as I continue to go on. Lane Prior is going to be cut for me. James Neal is going to be sent to the practice squad. Sam Hagan's been moving between tackle and guard, which makes me think that they do value him, and I think he's going to be a practice squad piece. Evan Brown, I think there's a chance that the Texans do keep him, so I'm going to put him at left guard right now and cut Jarrett Kingston. Eli Cox, I think, is going to be a practice squad guy for us as well. Patterson's going to be cut. So 10 offensive linemen, 4 tight ends, 7 receivers is very rich for right now. Kind of getting the baseline out, and then we can kind of cut down even more as we continue to go along. Sebastian Harsh, I think, could be a guy that does make the practice squad just because he is another UDFA. Dylan Horton, I am going to cut, sadly. Dominic Bailey's another one I think makes the practice squad. Keontae Hamilton, I think, could as well. Um, and then I think Logan Hall is someone who I do actually want to move to right right DN technically because I do want to cut Robinson and Ali Guy. So you do technically have 5 defensive tackles, 4 DNs, but Logan Hall is someone that can rotate as a D tackle. Um, and then Mario Edwards is also someone that can rotate as a D end if you really want him to. Mapu for the construction of this roster, I am also going to move to the Sam or the strong side linebacker, EJ Speed, someone that's on IR. Other IR guys are going to be guys like Jake Hansen's on IR, Jamal Hill's on IR, and then I think that's the 3 on IR. Obviously, Tank Dell is on the physically unable to perform for me, and that means just for the sake of it to balance things out for right now, Justin Watson's going to be a backup wide, so we do technically have 6 receivers right now. Um, but we're gonna have to cut down this roster a little bit as things continue. We have 12 on the practice squad right now, and then 11 cut players. I think the cuts are going to start to come a little bit more. Stephen Hall, excuse me, is going to be cut in my opinion. Linebackers right now, I think Fisher is going to be the guy that moves to the practice squad. Hummel could be a backup Mike if you really want him to be, just so you have a core of 6, and then I think Taki could be someone that gets cut or Mapu. We're gonna have to cut down some more, obviously. This is nowhere near final. Merriweather is cut. MJ Stewart is on the PUP, I believe. And then Huzzy's another guy I think could go to the practice squad. That leaves a lot in this corner room. I think Jamarcus Ingram's going to have to be a casualty. Um, and then I think Codrington is someone that's going to be another corner. Uh, but we have him at nickel. I think Kamar Ramsey's someone that will be that nickel, but it doesn't let me move his position, sadly enough. We're at 57 right now. I think Kroger and Jack Stonehouse are 2 guys that also get cut. And I think the Texans are looking at someone named Jack Browning for the punter position. He's coming in for a workout to be some more competition. Doesn't seem like that room's been great so far, so I am going to add him to the roster there. So we do have a new punter. 14 on the practice squad, so we do have room for two more. I think Colin Wright could be one of those guys, potentially. And then I also think Brevin Jordan could be another one of those guys. I am going to, we have 56 right now. I'm going to cut Evan Brown. I think that was a guy that was kind of on the edge for me. Um, we'll see how he performs throughout the rest of training camp, but really haven't heard too much rave about him. I think Braden Smith, Trent Brown, Ingram, Waywu or Weewu, Rutledge, maybe Andrews could be a casualty, but Teller, Ursary, and Fisher could be another one that looks to be traded or something like that. At 55 right now, and I think the linebackers, you're gonna have to get rid of one. Taki or Mapu are the two for me because Hummel's just such a valuable special teams piece. Uh, Mapu's a great special teamer as well, so I'm gonna get rid of I think, and then Mapu's gonna be the starting Sam. Um, or you move Woodaz over there and you start him there just to start out his career in the three linebacker sets until EJ Speed does get back. Um, you're at 54, so you need to let go of one more player. I think it's between Tremont Smith and Colin Wright. And considering we do have an open practice squad spot, it is going to be Colin Wright to the practice squad. I think Codrington could be a guy that does get cut, but I do think he's a valuable special teams piece. So we'll go deep dive right now. Stroud Mills Mertz, I think, is pretty self explanatory, in my opinion. Stroud, your QB1, Davis Mills, your QB2, Mertz, your QB3. Texans like to roll with three quarterbacks. So yeah, those are the three that we are keeping. Lewis Bond is actually going to move to the Y, in my opinion, and then Watson's going to move to the C, because Lewis Bond is that slot receiver. But Montgomery Marks, I think, are the two locks at running back. I think it's between Jordan and probably Whittington for that RB3 spot. It's going to be a preseason battle, in my opinion, between the two. But as camp stands, it looks like Jawar Jordan has been the better player so far. People seem to really like Jawar Jordan's game. Obviously, he had some production last year as well. Fullback, you got British Brooks, who's probably going to be our RB4 as things stand right now as well. But your only fullback on the roster, a really valuable special teams piece. I guess he could technically be put on IR right now, if you do want to free up that roster spot. And if I'm freeing up that roster spot, I think I'm bringing back Jamarcus Ingram or Dominique Robinson. Yeah, it's got to be Dominique Robinson uh, to come back. So you restore Dominique Robinson there, and I think you can move Logan Hall back to right D tackle. And I think it's, D6 as the rotation, and then you do have four actual traditional DNs, so Logan Hall doesn't have to play two roles, which is nice. Um, so there's that. British Brooks is no longer at fullback because he broke his hand and he had surgery. And then Nico Hutch as your X's, Higgins, Watson as your Z's is not bad. Obviously, you're gonna have Tank Dell coming back. When he does come back, I would say Justin Watson is the casualty there if you're trying to cut down from the receiver room. And then you got Nolan Bond, who I think Bonds have been tremendous throughout training camp. Noel hasn't practiced, but you're not cutting Jalen Noel after he showed you some promise in his rookie year. The tight end room, Schultz, Moreau, Klein, I think are locks. I think Foster is a very decent backup tight end. I think it's a battle between these two for tight end 2, and then tight end 4 could be another cut. If there's someone we do want to bring back, maybe Jamarcus Ingram deserves a spot. Maybe Evan Brown deserves a spot. Maybe Taki actually deserves a spot. Um, and you do decide to bring him back, and you cut Brevin Jordan, or you move into the practice squad, which I'm actually debating, and I'm actually going to do. Brevin Jordan's going to be sent to the practice squad there, just too injury prone. And then Taki is going to be part of this roster. And where is he? Going to move him to the one, and then Woodaz back over to Will. So you have a linebacking core 6, which is pretty rich. So maybe one of them does get cut, but receivers look good. Tight ends, now you got your 3. This could flip any day of the week. Just not that way. Foster Moreau or Marlon Klein are not going to be your tight end 1 next season unless Marlon Klein just decides to show out. It's going to be Dalton Schultz. At tackle, you got Ursary and Smith, and then Trent Brown. I think Trent Brown's going to start off as the starter, and then Braden Smith going to work his way up, just due to injury. I think Blake Fisher's someone that could be traded, and then you look at Hagan as someone who potentially makes the roster. But maybe not. Maybe Blake Fisher's been doing well at camp. Didn't really see him too much, but uh, he's rolling with the twos. Teller obviously going to stay. Rutledge obviously going to stay. Same with Ingram. Same with Wee in my opinion. I think he's shown out a little bit just to deserve that roster spot more than anything. Not to say he's going to be a starter, but definitely deserving of a roster spot. And then Jake Andrews and Rutledge have been in good competition with each other, which is why I think that Jake Andrews is going to stay on this roster at least to start out the year. Edges, I mean, Anderson, Hunter, and Clowney are your locks. And then Togiai, Rankins, McDonald, Hall are your locks, in my opinion. And then Naquan Jones and Mario Edwards are both fighting for roster spots. I don't think in terms of the D tackle room, but I think in terms of just the roster overall, it's so stacked. Like, previous years with the Texans, Dylan Horton's going to be here and play some snaps. He did last year, but, you upgraded at that position, in my opinion. Evan Brown, someone that would stick around for a while. Noah Whittington, someone you'd sign in UDFA and feel great about moving forward, and he's going to be a practice squad guy for you. So it's really tough to get on this roster. And these guys are just going to have to show out at camp, but I think they definitely will. I think Naquan Jones is better towards the back half of the year last year. Texans rewarded him with a new deal, I believe, so I think he will end up making this roster. Same with Mario Edwards Jr. Texans re-sign him. And then Dominique Robinson's someone I could see being cut, but I do think he's going to be a valuable special teams guy as well, so that's why I'm keeping him. That's why Woodaz, Hummel, Mapu, Taki are also there to make the roster. They're going to be very good special teams pieces. Woodaz, super athletic. Hummel, super athletic. Mapu, Taki, all super athletic guys. Um, and I also think Woodez has a lot to develop in terms of a linebacker. There's a reason we drafted him before Aiden Fisher, which is why I did move Aiden Fisher to the practice squad there. And then Toto and Aziz, I think, are the two linebackers that have locked in their spots. Tremont Smith, just so important in terms of special teams, which is why Codrington also makes this roster. They're your gunners when you're in punt. Um, so yeah, that's why they are here. Tremont Smith and Brandon Codrington are going to be your gunners for punt, and that's why they make this roster. Jalen Smith's your CB3. Um, and then if you do need a CB4, I think you just run with Brandon Codrington, or you try to bring up, Colin Wright if it is that week. Part of me wants to see this, so I'm gonna have it that way. Hopefully, Colin Wright's a decent enough special teamer because I just think he's such a good player. He's making a play every single day. It seems like Colin Wright is so. We're gonna say the best players make this roster, and I think Colin Wright is one of the better players throughout training camp. So yeah, there's that. Obviously, Stingley, Laster, Bullock, Blankenship, Petrie are going to be our locks, and then these guys. I think Jalen Smith, Kamari Ramsey, Jalen Reed are locks. Maybe Kamari Ramsey is a guy that could be a special teamer, but I think he's too versatile to kind of leave out. Um, Special teams, Fairbairn and Brinkman are obviously going to stay here, and then Jack Browning I think wins the punter competition when he does come in. Haven't really seen too much promise from Kroger or Stonehouse to warrant them to have a roster spot. So I think if Browning comes in and impresses, then he is going to be, the first punter headed into next year, and maybe, I don't know why we didn't bring back Tommy Townsend, but we'll figure out as this punter competition continues on. But yeah, that is my 53-man roster predictions: Pittsburgher, Washington, Saunders, Jackson, Prior, Kingston, Patterson, Bird, Horton, Guy, Hall, Merriweather, Ingram, Kroger, Stonehouse, Brown, and Smith, all being cut on the reserve / IR / physically unable to perform this. You got Speed, Hanson, Hill, Dell, Stewart, and British Brooks, who just had surgery. Dell, I think, is just physically unable to perform to start out the year. Trying to ramp him up. Practice squad, you have one more spot, so that's the Colin Wright movement. But Whittington, Sopkowitz, Wayne, Kelly, Stover, Neal, Hagan, Cox, Harsh, Bailey, Hamilton, Osai, Fisher, Huzzy, and Brevin Jordan. If you want one more that could, just provide some depth in the practice squad, Kingston. Yeah, I'd say it would be Jarrett Kingston or Pitzenberger. We'll go Jarrett Kingston to make the practice squad just because he's been here a while. So that does round out this roster. We are going to submit it, and we'll name it Texans Takeover Video. So yeah, you can view it now in community rosters. It will be here. Let me know what y'all think about this roster down below in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think is going to be updated, whether or not you think we make a new signing. if I were to say suggest a signing for this team, it would be cutting one of the linebackers and bringing in Jerome Baker to play the strong side linebacker. But he's coming from the Browns. He doesn't have a deal. I think it'll just be like a $2 million 1 year deal, or a $1 million or a 1 year deal worth $2 million. Excuse me. And he could definitely fill in that role and play at a high level. But um, that would be the really only thing I suggest. Let me know what y'all think about this roster down in the comment section below. Again, please be sure to check out HoustonStressins.com. Um, you know, you click on HoustonStressins.com here, and you go to 53-man roster, and then My Roster Builder. You build yours, and then you can see it in the community tab. It just released tonight, which is why there's only 4. Expect a lot more coming in. Make sure you like the ones you do actually enjoy. The cap calculator we also have up here, which is completely refined now. If you see signed free agents, it is upcoming free agents. So like Baker Mayfield, George Pickens are all there. 539 free agents available. And then, Texans free agents are the guys about to enter free agency after this next season. So Jadeveon Clowney, Trent Brown, even Tank Della, Henry Toto, all there. So yeah, make sure you go check that out. The free agent tracker is being updated as well. Montreal Washington updated today. And then there is more, such as the prospect tracker, but the draft is obviously over. Have Texans trivia here as well, that we did create. So we can play around with some Texans blind rank. Most career receiving yards, Joel Dressen, I think, would be at 4. Demarius Thomas at 1. Jordan Akins at 3. Brevin Jordan at 2. OJ Howard's going to be higher than that. Um, yeah, Jordan Akins was actually at 2. Brevin Jordan was at 5. And then OJ Howard was at 3. We're going to, you know what? Let's go till we get a perfect one. Play again. Chris Johnson, most career rushing touchdowns, 4. Dare 3. Damian Pierce 5. Akers 2. Duke Johnson 1. I felt good about that. Chris Johnson has 55, really? Savage at 4, Stroud at 2, Rosenfels at 3, David Carr at 5, Case Keenum at 1. It was Stroud, Rosenfels, Keenum, Carr, Savage has a very low one. Schaub at 1, Stroud at 3, Keenum at 4, Hoyer at 5. No, that's not going to be right. Everything needed to be bumped a little bit. Um, Continue on. Joel Dressen, I'm going to go back at 4. Miller at 3. Wells at 5. Walter at 2. Will Fuller at 1. I was not correct. You had to flip those 3 around. Daniil Hunter, Pro Bowl selections, I'll go 2. Cushing 3. Aziz 4. Watt 1. King 5. King's going to be higher because he's a special teamer. Um, Okay, I got that perfect, but it just doesn't want to count as perfect. We'll end there, though. If you did enjoy this video, sorry for the tangent. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and as always, it's Texans Takeover, and I'm out. Peace.